Okay. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. And Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. Boy, this shirt is very flowy, isn't it? I'm just noticing that on the live stream. Anyway, hope your day's off to a fantastic start. Hope you had a really good Thursday. Just getting a few things in order here. Bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. There we go. All right, couple of things to get into here. As always, appreciate y'all for being there. YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Well, actually a lot to get into this morning. As it says there in the description of today's episode, the SEC is expanding in 2024. So we knew Texas and Oklahoma were coming into the league. Just a couple of weeks ago, it appeared as though Texas and OU were not going to be able to strike a deal to exit early, meaning they were going to have to stay in the Big 12 until through 2024 and then come into the SEC in 2025. That now is not going to happen. So Oklahoma and Texas have agreed to pay the Big 12 a total of $100 million to join the SEC in 2024. That's a year earlier than they originally intended. So now the boards of those two schools have to approve the deal and all, but it's going to happen. They'll rubber stamp it. So the fee is being described as like foregone distributable revenues. But that's a lot. That's certainly a lot. So remember, July 1 of this year, the Big 12 officially adds 4 schools: BYU, Central Florida, Cincinnati, and Houston, plus Texas and Oklahoma still there. So you will have a 14-team league in the Big 12 in 2023. And then in 2024, they'll revert to 12 teams as Texas and OU leave for the SEC. So in 2024, Texas and Oklahoma will be in the SEC. Southern Cal and UCLA will be in the Big 10. And the college football playoff will expand. So that's pretty exciting, man. It's, one more year as it is. And then we have I guess this year you'll have an expanded Big 12. But for the Power 5, one more year as it is, and then 2024 becomes a whole lot of moving. I was told all along that Texas could have stroked that check at any point. Oklahoma was the one having a little tougher time raising the funds. That shouldn't come as any surprise to anyone. ESPN reports that a key part of the deal, letting the schools out early, was a game flip of a non-conference matchup between Michigan and Texas. So Texas will now visit Michigan in 2024 in Ann Arbor when Texas is in the SEC, and then Michigan will return to Austin in 2027. So the game had been scheduled the opposite way. So had Texas had the home game against Michigan in 2024, that would have been part of the Big 12 rights package, which obviously would have been a massive deal for Texas and Michigan. When they play at Michigan as part of the Big 10 rights deal, so they basically flipped that matchup. So Texas will play at Michigan in 24, and Michigan will play at Texas in 27. Anyway, so they found resolution here, and the SEC gets to expand. And again, I want to reiterate, one of the reasons that that's important is, the SEC wants to be, when the league expands and adds Texas and Oklahoma, that you want your expanded league when the playoff expands. Because what if one or both those teams makes playoff? Well, you want them in your league when the playoff expands. So anyway, all right, let's say some good mornings here. Just a weird night last night. If y'all saw the report, Brian Kelly and his wife filed for divorce. WBRZ had the public filing. I mean, they had the paperwork. Brian Kelly filed for divorce from his wife of 28 years. And then, shortly thereafter, all of the Kelly children start posting photos of Brian and Pocky together, saying, like, well, it looks good on our end, looks good from here, fake news. And so then later, word came out that apparently they reconciled. But how bizarre is that? And the filing was on the 5th. So today's the 10th, right? So, so yesterday was nice. So they file on the 5th, and within 4 days, they've reconciled? From taking the step to go to the court and file for divorce? In 4 days, you reconcile? Look, man, I'll say about this what I said about Ed Ogeron whenever he and his wife divorced, and what I'd say about anybody, like if the circumstance were to arise. I don't think that's none of my business, your business, any of our business. What happens in someone's personal life. It only rises to the level of being a public consideration when and if your situation in your personal life begins to affect your professional life. So more than anything, like with Ed and Kelly Ogeron, you just it sucks. These people have been married a long time and for whatever reason grew apart and their marriage ended, and it looked like the same things happening there with the Kellys, but apparently now they've reconciled and they're trying to make it work. So again, I have no comment, feeling, thought other than for the sake of the couple, I hope it works out and they're happy and great and all that sort of stuff. All right, we'll say some good mornings here. Y'all smash that like button if you're there on YouTube, Facebook. Please like the page, share the post. By the way, I got ProCharge pinned in the comments. Was having a convo with Terrio and a lot of the ProCharge guys yesterday. Big push right now is auto dealers. So if you work at an auto dealer, apparently auto dealers are being mandated by the manufacturers to install electric vehicle chargers. Makes sense, right? Like, we've got this EV inventory coming, and if you want to get it, you've got to have chargers at your dealership. So all of the dealerships need EV chargers. So ProCharge, if you work at a dealership, if you own a dealership, if you have a friend, a relative that works at a car dealership, let them know. ProCharge is local, partnered with NLX, which is ENELX. It's an Italian company. They're actually like the world's largest distributor of charging stations. And so ProCharge has the distribution rights for the Southeast. So literally anywhere in the Southeast, ProCharge EV, it's pinned right there. ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, let's see. Trey Fisher, good morning. Jason Horn, good morning. Pels make a trade. What do you think? Yeah, man. So we, the trade, by the way, I got my dunks on today. Jason. Panda dunks, dog. So the trade that the Pels made, I'm good with it. You bring in Josh Richardson, who a lot of fans here should know. Played at Tennessee, so we got to see him play with the Vols. Excuse me. He gives you some experience, better scoring, better length, and his contract expires after this year. So really the move was more so to get Devontae Graham's money off the books for next year and the year following. It's like $12 million next year, something like $2 million the following. So really you get a little more versatile player for the remainder of this year, and then and you get Devontae Graham's money off the books. So you kept your core together. Kip Kipper's Matt Terry going to be at Rouse's today. He is. So y'all come on out to Rouse's. Bregman will be there. I believe Bregman's there from 2 to 5. But Hunt Palmer show 1 to 3, AFR 3 to 6. Big old Breggy Bomb event. So y'all come out to Rouse's in Denham today for the shows. Meet Bregman. They'll be cooking up a lot of food with the Breggy Bomb products, and get ready for everything you need for the Super Bowl. Kelly Gross, good morning. Vernell Thomas, good morning. What do you think that contract will look like if the Saints trade for Carr? Vernell, my guess is if they trade for Carr, Carr would agree to a new deal. Maybe a longer term deal that could extend some of that the cap hit. But I don't know if you're talking about his contract or you did say contract, okay. But I mean, you look at things like Spotrac, they place his market value at $37 million a year, which I cannot stomach that. Not for a team in the cap situation the Saints are in when you have so many other needs. Wait for the Raiders to cut him. Thought Drew was awake. Wait for the Raiders to cut him. See if you can get, see if he'll sign with you in free agency, and go from there. Deborah Coward, good morning. Jeff McKithen, good morning. Let's see, Jesse Brown, good morning. Smash the like button. Hope you and the family have a great weekend. Thank you, Jesse. Wendell Norman, Armstrong Grappling. Let's see, I'm so ready for nonstop LSU baseball discussion. Always enjoy Monday mornings, breaking down the weekend series. Yeah, man, it's coming. A week from today. A week from today is the opener. I'll remind you all for the season opener, if you're not going to be out at the box, we'll be at Tallulah inside the Renaissance. So they're putting together a great event, man. Rally Cap Brewing will be there with free beer samples. Taylor Calandro will be there with free whiskey samples of, I don't know what he's bringing yet, but he's bringing allocated whiskeys. There'll be 2 projection screens playing the game, one inside, one out on the terrace. And food and drink specials all night long. So y'all come hang out at Tallulah inside the Renaissance. If you've never been, great opportunity to come check it out. Spurge, good morning. Welcome to Longhorn and Sooner fans. Yeah, man. Tim Gotro, Brad David, you are so right when you always say it's better to be right than to be first. Well, Brad, that's true. But so in WBRZ's defense, the initial report was that Brian Kelly filed for divorce, which he did. I mean, they have the filing. It's in a court. It's a public filing. So they have the paperwork. They fought. I mean, Brian Kelly's signature is on the document on the petition for divorce. So they weren't wrong in reporting that that Kelly had filed for divorce. He did. It's just interesting though that there was no name on the. I don't know if people know how newsrooms work a lot. So if you go look at the WBRZ report, it just says, look, if you go look, it says by WBRZ staff. So there's no, I think our initial inclination is to think, oh, Cobble. Well, no, Cobble didn't report it. It says WBRZ staff. So their newsroom and web staff clearly found the petition, because in newsrooms, oftentimes you do that. Like you pore over court documents to see, you look at the police blotter and arrest records to see if anyone notable was arrested or filed, had something filed, all that stuff. So clearly somebody in WBRZ's newsroom found it and wrote online, hey, Brian Kelly filed for divorce, which is a fact. Should have called LSU, gotten a comment, added a little more depth to the story, considering that it's Brian Kelly. And then the second report, which was Brian Kelly filed for divorce, but he and his wife have reconciled, would have been the only report. So, but yes, in many respects, that's true. Jeff Hawk, what's going on, man? From Buffalo. Jeff sent me some pictures yesterday of I don't know, what do you call, Jeff, would you call it like a herd of deer? What's a group of deer called? A pack? Is it a herd? It is a herd, okay. A herd of deer on this property up in Buffalo where Jeff is visiting. That would be heaven for Ryan Terrio. Eric Waterrider, morning, Matt. I was laughing with you when people mentioned Wade getting off innocent, but now Jordy is saying it. Do we make a mistake letting him go? Wait, I don't understand the question, Eric. Sorry, man. Brian Williams, what's going on? Sean Comiskey, how much is the rev share going to split with Texas and Oklahoma joining? So, Sean, it should go up, right? So that's the point that I mention all the time with conference realignment. You don't add teams just to add teams. You add teams that are going to grow the revenue enough to where everybody's share gets bigger. So remember, it's equal shares. So you have 14 teams in the SEC right now. When Texas and Oklahoma come in, you'll have 16. Well, so you're going to split the pot 17 ways. 16 teams or 16 schools, and the league office gets its share as well. So in bringing in Texas and Oklahoma, you have to grow the pot big enough to where even by adding 2 more slices, cutting it 2 more ways, everyone still gets a bigger slice because they grew the pot big enough. So in adding those 2 brands, what they should bring to television revenue, etc., which is the primary revenue source, yes, everyone should make more with Texas and OU coming. All right, smash that like button if you would. 81 watching live, 29 likes. We can get that number up on Facebook. Please like the Matt Scone page, share the post. Got about 10 minutes to go here. Jason Horn, I'm okay with the players trade because of the contract. Giving up 4 picks. What's that? Does seem to be a bit much. No, Jason, you got to remember this too. There's no reason for the Pelicans to have those 4 picks because you don't have enough roster spots for those players anyway, right? You got to keep that in mind, man. Like, every now and again you may hit on a 2nd round pick, but I mean you've got 1st round picks in those years anyway, and you've still got 1st round picks from the Lakers, so you're not going to use those picks and have those players on your roster. So when you have an excess of picks like that, you use them as trade capital. So it's all good. David Coslin, good morning. Greg Dugas, morning ball. Chatter going around, said it a few weeks ago. It's resurfacing. LSU won't receive sanctions. Will Wade will walk by means straight to Ole Miss and take the job. I'm selling that. I know that there are people at Ole Miss who have been talking about hiring Will Wade. I've heard that for weeks, if not months, that people at Ole Miss want to hire Will Wade if and when they fire Kermit Davis. I will believe that when I see that. Philip Leonard bail bonds. I don't know if asked, so if so, I'll ignore. You think the SEC will realign the East and West? Philip, you're not going to have an East and West. They'll drop divisions. No, that's a good question, by the way, Philip. No one had asked that yet. I mean, we've talked about it for 2 years now, but not today or anything like that. They're going to drop divisional play because if you play everyone in your division, then even with a 9-game schedule, you would never play anybody from the other side, right? So they're going to go to some type of. They've considered a lot of scheduling models. The one that I've heard that I think is best is they'll go to a 9-game schedule. You'll have 3 permanent opponents, and the rest of the league, the other 6 games, you will rotate home and home annually. So over the course of 2 years, you will have played everyone in the league, and over the course of 4 years, you would have played every team in the league home and away. So that's what I've heard. That's what I think is the most plausible. But again, they've got to get to 9 games first before they approve the format. Hey, there you go. Jay Geiger, morning, Matt. Waiting patiently to hear how the SEC will split its divisions and scheduling. Again, I think they'll go. Ultimately, what I think we're headed for is 9 games, 3 permanents, and then you rotate the other 6 teams in the league annually. And I think my best guess at LSU's permanents would be, God, Gosh dog it, we did this before. I think it was A&M and the Mississippi schools, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think what you do is you start with like what you know. Like what you know is Bama's going to have Auburn and Tennessee. Georgia's going to have Auburn and Florida. You know, Tennessee's also going to have Vandy. You know, some of that sort of stuff, right? So when you start there, like with the what you know is going to happen, then you can start to fill in. And basically it was going to be like a 2-and-1, like 2 power opponents and 1, like 2 top half of the league opponents, 1 bottom half of the league opponent. So like for Alabama, who I just mentioned, well, they play Auburn and Tennessee, who would be top half of the league, and then maybe they draw a Vanderbilt at the bottom of the league, something like that. Drew's awake. Brian Williams, morning, Matt. Now that I live in OKC, can't wait for LSU to come up here and smack the Sooners around. I'm looking forward to making that trip for sure. I was going to make it when it was a non-conference trip. Brad David, how many games do you think Jimbo needs to win next year to keep his job? Feels like he's got to get to 9. I don't think they're going to tolerate another 8-4 year. Guy Brooks, good morning, Matt. Do you think the SEC will go to pods in football? Just talked about that a bit. The Saints picking at 29 scares me. Another bad defensive end or interior offensive lineman. I would be perfectly okay, Bailey, with them taking someone on the defensive line at 29. They need defensive linemen. Thomas Lamont, you can only watch 2/3. 2 out of 3. March Madness, College Football Playoff, College World Series. Which are you leaving out? Is LSU in the College World Series? Because if LSU is in the College World Series, then I'm picking the playoff in the College World Series. If LSU is not, and I have no rooting interest whatsoever in the College World Series, then I will watch March Madness. Damon Hinderberger, what's going on? Wacky Chris, morning, Matt. What's the best case scenario for record performance for Oklahoma and Tennessee once they're in the SEC? I don't see them making an impact for the Frost first, I guess, 4 to 5 years. You know, it's going to be interesting, Chris. I think, number one, you know, what happens with Brent Venables? Like, can he get Oklahoma back on track? They stunk this year. And number two, is Steve Sarkisian really the guy? Because if Steve Sarkisian maximizes Quinn Ewers and then Arch Manning, Texas could elevate more quickly, I think. Ronnie Duga, yeah, okay, Ronnie was asking about the draft picks as well. Brad David, are y'all going to find a co-host for Hunt Show or keep it the way it is? So in time, Brad, we may find a co-host for Hunt. I talked about that with Hunt on Monday. But there's no immediate pressing need to rush someone into there. Hunt's doing fine as a solo show. Hanny's really happy doing what he's doing right now, which is his 1-hour show. And then, you know, moonlighting with Jimmy on Game Time a few nights a week. So we'll get to a point, I'm sure, where the lineup shuffles again to have something a little more permanent, stable, etc. And you never always know because there's always the considerations of what ESPN does with their national lineup, which could always change. So, but there's no pressing, urgent matter like to change the lineup at all. Ryan Pike going to the LSU-Tennessee game February 28th, going to the Hornets' Nest, doing God's work. Okay. Wonder what the weather's going to be like there. Dale Broussard looked like it'll be a great day on the golf course. Very cool. Ronnie Duga, what happens to the Longhorn Network? Good question. I don't know if ESPN's determined that yet. I need to go back and refresh myself with that. I can't imagine, though, that they have that to where... Well, I'll tell you this. There's no way that he would be able to retain... That Texas would be able to retain all the revenue from Longhorn Network. No chance. Weston Weaver, morning, Matt. With the recent trade action in the West, do you think the Pels are looking at the play-in now? I know we have plenty of games to play. No. I think obviously the Lakers got better, and the Suns with KD become an immediate contender, if not favorite, in the West. I still think the Pels are in the top 6. I do. Solar Flares, what's going on? All right, y'all, I got to bounce. It's 8 o'clock. Jackson Carney, Brian Ashcraft, what's going on? Dalton Barnett, appreciate y'all for being here. If I missed you, Ryan Pike, Jonathan Martin, thanks for being there, y'all. Craig Dig, hanging with Hester following AFR was GOAT, missed that format. Yeah, but look, Hester's got young kids, man. 6 to 8 was difficult for him, and he's much more valuable to our station in the morning. Morning drive is a pillar. You need a strong morning show to set the day, and we have that, and that's not changing. All right, I gotta go. Appreciate y'all so much for watching. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, ProCharge EV, and Restored Motions. ProCharge tagged there. Car dealers. If you work at a car dealer, own one, know one, have a relative that does. Car dealers need EV chargers. They need them quickly. We've got them at ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Holler. Links in the post. Okay, see y'all. Peace.